So welcome, here comes my run of the Starship SN15. This is a simulation on Simple Rockets 2 for fun really, just to see if I could make this work. So here we go, off goes SN15 for its 10-kilometer hop test, just as the real vehicle did from Boca Chica in Texas. This one's here is in the Juno system on Simple Rockets, launching from the large launch pad. It's running using the Visi program, so off it goes. It's entirely controlled by the onboard computers. I'm just watching at this point. And like a lot of people who've been playing around with Starship rockets to see if we can make it work, the fun is of course not just making the rocket, but it's landing it and also controlling the flaps so that the vehicle's under control. So I've had various attempts to make this work. Look, there goes. The engines are reducing in number, so we're down to one engine controlling the vehicle. And I'm going to explain in the second run the differences between this simulation, this game version of SN15, and the real vehicle. There are things that I can't quite make work on the program. There it goes. We're flipping towards the horizontal. Over it goes. And you can see the flaps controlling, also controlled by the program. And the flaps are using aerodynamics, subtly adjusting themselves to control the vehicle so that it's horizontal, or rather horizontal-ish, because it's also trying to angle itself so that it maneuvers into the right position over the landing site, which is really important. You've got to get as close as possible, well, not quite as close as possible. You want to be in the right position, which for me seemed to be something around 600-700 meters from the landing site by the time you flip it over again. So there it goes. Over goes the flip on two engines, enabling the flip to work more powerfully. And the flaps are going back into the locked position as it adjusts itself. The program, the Visi program, is angling itself towards or in the direction of the landing site. There you can see it appearing underneath. This was the tricky bit. This is where my first efforts over the last year or so just couldn't make it. Every time I came back to this program and trying to make it work, I couldn't quite get this to land on the landing site in a smooth way. It's good. Controlling the lateral movement is important. Movement from side to side, making sure it's landing as straight as possible, but also targeting the landing site is also tricky. So here it comes. I have to say, the first time I managed to get this landing on the pad, I was very excited. Down it comes. That's pretty central, but it is a bit different from the real flight of SN15. I'm using up quite a lot of fuel to keep this thing hovering, and I'll explain why I'm having to do that on the next run. So down it comes, and it should land nice and smoothly. Down come the landing legs, there they go, and they will also crumple as soon as it touches down, so that the vehicle sits nice and stably on the pad. There it goes. So, right, that's Starship SN15, a successful flight, 10-kilometer hop test. Now we're going to show the same test, same vehicle, different run. And this time we're going to see the view from the onboard cameras. And I'll talk a little bit about why this is different from the real vehicle. So here we go. Starship SN15 on the launch pad, ready to go. And the countdown's running. And off go the engines. Now, one of the differences here is the real Raptor engines, the Raptor engines that are powering the Starship. They have a kind of cut-off point, about 20% of thrust. Now, I'm not using that here. In fact, I'm allowing these engines to go down to quite small amounts of thrust, which means you can run all three engines at the same time. You don't have to reduce them as SpaceX do. So they start with 3, and then they go down to 2, and then they go down to 1. I'm doing that a little bit, so I am reducing the numbers of engines firing during the launch, during the move upwards. But then comes another problem. which is the gimbling. So by gimbling the engine, you can control the direction of flight. Now, of course, the Simple Rockets program does all that for you, and you're not in control of the actual gimbling of the engines. So it's quite hard to get the balance right, or I haven't managed it yet. I'm sure other people cleverer than me have managed that. So those are two key problems. Here we get the view from the engine skirt, and it's flipping. There you go, the engine moves. You see the gimbal, which forces it over, and it heads towards the horizontal position. And now we get that great view from outside of the Starship vehicle, the camera actually attached to the flap, which is great fun because you see the camera angle move as the flap adjusts. I just love that. I think it's great. It's great. It's a really unusual angle to see a spaceship from. So down it comes, and the flaps again adjusting the angle so that the vehicle is slowing towards terminal velocity. Now here, the flip, we're about to see the flip to ready for the landing maneuver. The engines will light, there they go, flipping the vehicle over towards the vertical for the powered landing. I had to do that at 3.5 kilometers, so 3,500 meters, which is, I think, certainly higher than Starship was intended to start that maneuver. I think with SN15 they started that higher than they had in previous tests, because it gives you more time to sort the vehicle out, more time to slow down. So here you can see the vehicle moving backwards and forwards as it angles itself, slows down the lateral movement, pushes itself in the direction of the centre of the pad. All that because we're doing the flip higher, because we're slowing down, so it's moving quite slowly now. That gives much more time for the vehicle to make the landing more accurately. But of course, that's with the miracle of being able to control the thrust of these engines right down to almost zero. Anyway, here we go to the landing. The landing legs are about to deploy. Now you can see the landing pad appearing underneath us. And any second, there go the landing legs. And down we come for a nice soft landing. A little bit of a bump. And there we go. SN15 Starship. Nice flight. Great to see it landing so centrally. So I'm really pleased with that. As I say, it's not quite a realistic flight. There are all sorts of problems with it, not least the gimbling, the fact it had to start the landing maneuver late, and I've probably used a lot more fuel than Elon Musk would really like. But it worked. So thanks for watching, and I'm looking forward to having a go at a 20-kilometre test next time.